Well, hello, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. We have the next game in the 1987 Strat-O-Matic American League replay. June 30th is the date. Game 523 overall. We're in the heart of Texas as the Seattle Mariners take on the Texas Rangers. Pretty evenly matched teams by their one-loss record overall. However, Seattle, I think, has a distinct pitching advantage in this matchup, as we will have their ace, Mark Langston, on the mound against Mike Loynd for the Rangers. Arlington Stadium is a symmetrical ballpark, and it's the same for singles as it is for home runs. 11 is the magic number for everything. Seattle won this game real world 5-2. Seattle comes into the game 33-42. Texas comes in 32-41. So again, very evenly matched there. However, that's where the differences stop when he comes to the pitching. Mike Loynd comes to the game 2-4. Mark Langston 9-7. Loynd is a +5 rating. He is a +7 on his hold. And then the from slot makes him a +8. But again, +5 is as high as you can, or as bad as you can get, however you want to look at it. He also has a 12 wild pitch rating, a 0 balk, and slot has a 16 pass ball rating. So between his wild pitch and his pass ball, could be an interesting day for the Texas Rangers, and Bobby Valentine might be pulling out some more of his hair. I don't know. So let's look at Mike Loynd, at what he did real world and in the replay. Mike Loynd kind of went back and forth between starting and relieving. But in 1987, Mike Loynd was 1-5 with a 6.10 ERA and threw a total of 69 innings. Let's see what he's done on the replay. He is 2-4 with a 7.62 ERA, 57 innings pitched, 79 hits, 30 walks, 45 strikeouts. So he's closing in on being done for the year. Let me look at his numbers, real world numbers. And let's see, compare it to the replay numbers. See, he had 8 starts. This is start number 6. So he's got a couple more starts, and he just might be done after that. I'm not sure exactly when he officially is done, but we're getting close to that time, I'm sure. All right. John Moses is your leadoff man for the Seattle Mariners. Pretty standard lineup for both teams. I don't think there's a whole lot going on there. One thing Texas is doing is they've used primarily all right-handers. In fact, they're all right-handers or switch hitters. They benched all left-handers because Langston is so tough on lefties. So at first base, the backup catcher Mike Stanley is actually going to play first base in this one. And Bob Brower is going to play center field instead of McDowell. So you have McDowell and you have O'Brien both out on the bench, not out of the, not able to play, but sitting on the bench because of the left-hander. So their bench is loaded with left-handed bats, Texas's bench. So we'll see what happens. Good morning, Jason. Good to see you. So before the first pitch is thrown, of course, it is tradition, and I love tradition, for the ceremonial first sip. Ceremonial first sip is needed. That's how the game is christened. It's like my version of the umpire yelling "play ball." We don't play ball till the first sip is made. All right, John Moses, 252 on the replay, 3 homers, 32 driven in. He had 246 real world, and we're underway from Texas. 6-7, ground ball second base X. We're looking at the second baseman Jerry Brown. So right off the bat, we have an X chance. Brown is a 3E16. 3-20, he's going to get to that. E16 is a second baseman. He's got to avoid basically 15 through 18 and then throw the 3 in there as well. But pretty much 15 through 18 has to be avoided. And he does that just fine. So he will throw out John Moses to start the ball game. 1 away, and that's going to take us to Phil Bradley, left fielder. Bradley's hitting 229 on the replay, 9 homers, 31 driven in. He had 297 real world, so definitely he's the Joe Carter of the Mariners right now. That's a 1-9 for Bradley against Loynd, and he strikes out. His struggles continue. 2 up, 2 down for the other Bradley, Scott Bradley. He is normally the catcher, but he is going to be the designated hitter in this game, as they have Dave Valley doing the physical catching. Bradley hitting 284 on the replay, 2 homers, 35 driven in. He at 278 real world. 6-7 lefty against Loynd. Another chance for Jerry Brown. Again, 3E16. This time a 3-2 is going to get through for a base hit, but he has to avoid that 15 through 18 for the error. And that might not work. That's a 15. So I believe that's going to be an error as well on top of the base hit. So yes, it is. One base error. 15 through 18 is an error. That's a 15. So it's a single plus an error. And that will move Bradley to second base. So he's in scoring position with 2 outs. And that'll bring up Alvin Davis, first baseman. Davis in the clutch will lose a hit on 3-8. Everywhere else he seems to be neutral. First havoc roll of the game. Nothing happening. Davis hitting 281 on the replay. 13 homers, 42 driven in. He at 295 real world. That's a 5-8, and that's going to be a ground ball shortstop X. So we're looking now at Fletcher, 3E26. 3 and a 6 should be able to knock that down at least. He's not holding anybody on. So 3 and a 6 is a G3. And then the shortstop, he is an E26. So he has to avoid 12, 17, and 18. Those are the 3 numbers to avoid. And he does just that to make the play. And that will take care of the Mariners. We go to the bottom of the first. It is Seattle nothing and Texas coming to bat against Mark Langston. We'll look at Langston's numbers in the 1987 season. Mark Langston was, if I can get to focus, 19-13 with a 3.84 ERA. Tossed 272 innings. You're not going to see that very much. Again, the way the game is going right now, I doubt you have any. I mean, if a pitcher gets 200 innings, it's like immaculate now. But he threw 272 innings. So on the real world, 19-13 with a ERA of 3.84. On the replays, 9-7 with an ERA of 3.57. So not too far off. 121 innings pitched, 109 hits, 54 walks, and 114 strikeouts are the figures for Langston in the replay. And the governor, Jerry Brown, will lead things off. Langston is a +1 hold, but Valley's a -3 arm, so he gets a -2. It's a 7 wild pitch, 3 balk, and Valley's only a 2 for his pass ball. So Valley a whole lot better defensively than the other catcher, Bradley, which is why they have him DH in this game. So Jerry Brown hitting 272 on the replay, 2 homers, 19 driven in. He hit 271 real world. Switch hitter. Everybody's going to bat right-handed against Langston. So Langston will always, when the batters come up, they will always be in this side and will always have this side for Langston. Everything's going to come off the red side for Langston. That's a 1-8, and that's a triple 1-16 right off the bat. Jerry Brown has a chance for a leadoff triple, and that's exactly what he has. Brown had 6 triples on the season in 1987. He starts things off here with a triple. That's the second triple in the replay, and roughly half his at bats. He's got a third of his triples, so it's only his second triple. He had 6 real world, and that'll bring up Scott Fletcher. Early in the game, the Mariners will play back. They'll concede the run to get the out, and it's Scott Fletcher aboard to bat. Fletcher hitting 305 on the replay, a homer and 40 driven in. He hit 267 on the real season. It's a 3-9, and that's going to be a leadoff, or not a leadoff, but a walk to go with that triple. First walk by Langston. It does set up a double play if you want to think about it as being some sort of put a positive spin on it, I guess. Here's Ruben Sierra hitting 283, 22 homers, 56 driven in. He at 263 real world. They will hold Fletcher at first, but Fletcher will not try to get a lead. Again, they're back for the double play, conceding the run. It's a 6-10, and that's a ballpark single check. Everything is 11, whether it's home run or single. 11 is all you need to know. If to be successful, it has to be 11 or less. And it is. Base hit 1 star, and Texas takes the first lead of the game. RBI single from Ruben Sierra. That's Sierra's 57th run batted in of the season. First and second, still nobody out for Pete Incaviglia, left fielder. Incaviglia hitting 273 on the replay, 18 homers, 54 driven in. He at 271 in the actual season. Langston's got to bear down. He's off to a rough start. That's a 3-7, and that's going to be a 1 for a triple. Anything else, he was single. And that's a base hit. It's going to be 2 stars, so that will score Fletcher from second. We'll move Sierra to third, and Langston's in a whole world of trouble here to start this game, as the Rangers have zoned in on whatever he's tossing, and he can't figure it out. Incaviglia will have to be held. He has an asterisk here, so if we don't hold him, he's going to get a good lead automatically, so they have to hold him on. And here's the designated hitter, Larry Parrish. Infield, again, they need outs. They don't have anybody out, so they'll play back for the double play. On the replay, Parrish, 267 average, 12 homers, 35 driven in. He at 268 real world. That's a 2-9, and that's a strikeout, and a huge one for Langston. He definitely needed it. Now a double play gets you out of the inning. And he's got Mike Stanley, who is a double play candidate, at the plate. He is normally a catcher, but he's performing first base duties today with the lefty Langston on the mound, giving Pete O'Brien the game off. Stanley hitting 217 on the replay, 3 homers, 11 driven in. He at 273 real world. Nothing on the Havoc. Double play ball gets him out of the inning. 5-8. That is a little, it's right off balance there, but it's a 5-8, and that's a strikeout for Langston. So he comes back with his second strikeout. Now he doesn't need a double play, just needs to get Don Slaught out, and he can limit the damage to 2 runs and keep his team in the game. Slaught hitting 264 on the replay, 6 homers, 18 driven in. He at 224 real world. That's a 5-10, and that's going to be a fly ball center field X. So we're looking at Moses. He's a 2E5. 220, he'll get to that. E5 as a center fielder. The only error possibilities are 4, 16, 17, and 18. So he's got to avoid the number 4 and then avoid 16 through 18, which he does. So nice play there by Moses, and nice comeback by Langston to limit the damage to 2 runs. And with Loynd on the mound, you got to figure Seattle's going to score some runs. So they should be able to come back from that, you would think. But that's why you roll the dice. You never know. Top of the second we go, and the Hound Dog, Jim Presley, steps up to the plate. Presley is hitting 213 on the replay, 13 homers, 49 driven in. He at 247 real world. And Presley against Loynd. 3-8, and that's going to be a 1-4 single. Anything else, he lines it to short. And that's a single for Presley. Leadoff single. He's no threat to run. And here's the catcher, Dave Valley. Valley hitting 232 on the replay, 4 homers, 15 driven in. He at 256 real world. Hello, Jeremiah. That's a 5-6 for Loynd, and that's trouble for Loynd. 1-13 is a double. 14-20 is a single, both 2 stars. And that's going to be a single, 2 stars for Valley. Presley will motor over to third. Runners on the corners, nobody out, and here come the Mariners. That'll bring up Mickey Brantley, the right fielder. Brantley hitting 277, 5 homers, 11 driven in. He at 302 real world. Infield for the Rangers, playing back for a double play. They're not holding Valley on, obviously. And here is Brantley. 4-4, and that's a ballpark single check. And again, 1-11 is the magic number. And that's a base hit. Mariners are on the board. Valley goes to second. Scoring is Presley, and it cuts the lead to 2-1. RBI single for Mickey Brantley, his 12th run batted in of the season. 2-1 ball game. That brings up shortstop Ray Quinones. Still nobody out. Quinones hitting 245 on the replay. 4 homers, 25 driven in. He had 276 real world. 4-5. That's a ground ball pitcher B, so they get the fielder's choice on Brantley at second. It's going to go 1-4. Going to third is Valley, but now at least they get the first out on the fielder's choice. And that'll bring up Harold Reynolds. 1 out and runners on the corners. Quinones will not be held at first. He doesn't run well. Rangers playing for the double play, which would get them out of the inning. Reynolds hitting 295 on the replay. No homers, 19 driven in. He had 275 real world. Switch hitter. 4-9, and that's a ballpark blast. He has weak power, so it would not be a home run. It would only be a single 2 stars if he gets it. But it's a 1-11 once again. And he gets it. Harold Reynolds, base hit. Would have been a 3-run homer, but he didn't have the power. But anyway, it's an RBI single for Harold Reynolds. His 20th run batted in of the season, and we are tied at 2 apiece here early on in Texas. And still only 1 out. Reynolds, a good chance to run here with that +5 hold rating from Loynd. He's going to try for the lead. Needs a 2 through 6 or a 9. Doesn't get the lead, but that still might not deter him. He's still going to go, even without the lead, because of that +5. It's just too tempting not to. He's a 15, being held makes him a -4 with the secondary lead, brings him down to an 11, but the +5 makes it a 16. So it's still a 1-16 for Harold Reynolds to steal it. And he got caught stealing. Wow. Thought you'd had that one made, but that just didn't happen. Caught stealing by Don Slaught. What a throw by Slaught to get Reynolds. And look at Reynolds' stolen base numbers, but you roll a 20, that's just bad luck. Reynolds had stole 60 bases on the real season, got caught 20 times. In the replay, he had stolen 27 bases, got caught 4 times. This is his 5th caught stealing. So caught stealing for out number 2. 2 down, and that's going to bring up John Moses now with a runner at third and 2 outs. Clutch situation for Moses. In the clutch, he will lose a hit on 2-9, and that's it. Sitting at third is Quinones. He is go-ahead run. 2-8, and that's going to be a single to right field, and the Mariners take the lead 3-2. Base hit for Moses. That's his 33rd run batted in of the season. Mariners claim the lead 3-2, and now Moses will look to get the lead. Only this time he would not go on a secondary lead. He'd only go on his primary. So he needs 2 through 10 or a 12. So he's going to either get the lead or get caught, one or the other, because all numbers are captured. He's got to avoid the 11, which he does. So he gets the lead. 15 being held at 13, but then the +5's an 18, 1-18. And he's in there. Stolen base for Moses. And for John Moses, we'll check his stolen base numbers, both on the real season and the replay. Moses stole 23 bases, got caught 15 times, real world. This is his 22nd stolen base. He's only been caught 4 times. So Moses with the stolen base gets into scoring position with 2 outs. For Phil Bradley, which this is now a clutch situation for Bradley, and he will lose some hits here, 1-7, 2-5, and 2-10. He loses hits on all of those. That's a 3-9, and that's a ground ball to short to end the inning. But 3 runs come in for the Mariners, and they claim a 3-2 lead and hand that lead over to Mark Langston to see if he can do something with it. Langston will face Buechele, Brower, and Brown here in the bottom of the second. See if he can have a little bit better outing than what he had in the first inning. Buechele hitting 231 on the replay. 7 homers, 31 driven in. He had 237 real world. 1-8 against the lefty is a ground ball to third, and Presley is there, 1 away. Buechele out. And that brings up the number 9 hitter, Bob Brower, center fielder. Brower hitting 295 on the replay, 2 homers, 17 driven in. He hit 261 real world. That's a 310, and that's a ballpark blast, and he does have normal power. So 1-11, we got a tie ball game. And we do. Bob Brower, home run for Bob Brower. And Brower had 14 home runs real world in just 303 at-bats. So it's good power. In the replay, that's home run number 3 for him. He had 14 real world. Hits his third here, his 18th run batted in, and we are tied right back that quickly at 3 apiece. So that didn't take long. Now we're back to the top of the order for Jerry Brown. 2-5 for Brown. He's going to ground it to short. Quinones has it, 2 down. And this could be a tit-for-tat game where one team matches the other team. Here's Fletcher, walked and scored his first time up. 1-5, and he's going to ground it to Presley at third to end the inning. But the home run from Brower has tied the game at the end of 2. We're tied at 3 apiece from Texas. And we will go to the top of the third, where it'll be Scott Bradley, Alvin Davis, and Jim Presley. The 3 due up for the Mariners. And let's see something real quick. And sitting right next to me, I had to take a picture of this. It was just too cute not to. There's Tabby on her little stand or her little perch right next to, I mean, literally I can move my left hand and pet her. That's how close she is. That's where she's at, and she's getting her rest. So thank goodness she's quiet. That's the main thing, is that she's quiet. So we're happy about that. We're always happy when she's quiet and not trying to climb on the table. So now we can start the top of the third with Mr. Bradley. 6'7", lefty, ground ball second base X. Jerry Brown, he's had 3 X. This is his 3rd X chance already in just 3 innings. He is a 3. 3-14, he'll get to that. E16, once again, he has to avoid basically 15 through 18. And he does. So Jerry Brown will make the play. 1 away. And that will take us to Alvin Davis, first baseman. Davis grounded to short in his first time up. It's a 6'8" lefty, and that's a strikeout for Loynd. Only his 2nd strikeout of the game. But a 2-up, 2-down inning so far for Loynd. Of course, he had that in the first inning. So see if he can make it a 3-up, 3-down inning here against the Hound Dog Presley. 5-9, and that's a strikeout there. So Loynd comes back with a very nice inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Mariners. We go to the bottom of the third, still 3-3. And due up for the Rangers, it'll be Sierra, Incaviglia, and Parrish. Ruben Sierra singled his first time up. RBI single. 3-5 against the lefty. He's going to pop it up to Harold Reynolds, and that's 1 away. 1 down for the big guy, Pete Incaviglia. He also had an RBI single his first time up. 5-9. This time he will go down on strikes. 3rd strikeout for Langston. 2 up, 2 down for Larry Parrish. He was a strikeout victim his first time. 1-6, and he's going to be a strikeout victim again. So both pitchers coming back with a nice rebound inning. They're kind of mirroring each other. on how they're performing. So remains to be seen how long that lasts. But we go to the fourth, and it's still 3-3. And we will have Dave Valley leading it off. And, of course, you have the patented scam likely coming in. So we've got to enjoy those. I'm just getting a whole lot of scam phone calls lately. I don't know why. Spam phone calls. Well, it could be scam phone calls, too, for all I know. But I think the technical term is spam phone calls. All right, so Dave Valley will step to the plate. Valley, his first time up, had a single and scored a run. 2-8 for Valley, and he's going to line it to Fletcher at short, one away. And here's Mickey Brantley. Brantley also singled his first time up. 1-3, he's going to strike out this time. So strikeout number 4 for Loynd. And Loynd now has actually retired 6 in a row. Here's Quinones. Quinones reached on a fielder's choice first time up. 5-4. That's an in-home run chance, and he does have normal power. It is 1-17, and the Mariners will take the lead. And it is Ray Quinones. Don't think of him as a home run hitter, but he took that one from Loynd. Quinones did hit 12 home runs on the regular season in 1987. He did have 12 home runs. This is home run number 5 for him on the replay. RBI number 26. So again, the 5-4 for Loynd, the 5-4 in home run 1-17, and we got a 1 there. And of course, Quinones has the normal power. So 2-out home run gives the Mariners the lead. Right back in the seesaw affair, and here's Harold Reynolds. Hello, Dan. 3-9, and that's going to be a pop out to second base. Pop out to second. Ends the inning. But the home run off the bat of Quinones has given the Mariners a 4-3 lead. Here's Mike Stanley. 5-7, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Quinones. Quinones is a 3E31. 3-20, he'll get to that. E31 is a shortstop. He's got to avoid 3, 4, 6, and then 15 through 18. And that's a 15. That'll be an error. E31 and a 15 is a one-base error on Quinones. So Mike Stanley will reach on the E6. One-base error by Quinones. Now each team has committed an error. And here is Don Slaught, catcher. 5-8, and that is a strikeout. Strikeout number 5 for Langston. And that'll send us to Steve Buechele. 3-8, and that's a walk. And for Langston, that is his second walk. Runners at first and second. 1 out for the number 9 hitter, Bob Brower, who homered his first time up. .410 and a .410, and that's an in-home run chance there as well. Possible home run, 1-9. That's a 15. He'll settle with a double. The double is assumed to go to center field. So we got a double that we know Stanley's going to score. Now, what about Buechele? He runs at a 12, not being held as a 13. Center field arm is a 0. 1-13, they can score him. And if they throw through, Brower's going to take third on the throw because he runs at a 16. So do they take the chance of getting him at I think you got to throw the plate. I don't think you have any choice here. I think you have to. So the 1-13, he's safe. And he's safe. It's a double, 2-run double for Brower. And Brower takes third on the throw. So a 2-run double from Bob Brower, his 19th and 20th runs batted in. And the Rangers reclaim the lead 5-4 over the Mariners. And now the infield will come in with the runner at third. Infield is in for Jerry Brown. That is a 4-8 switch hitter batting right-handed. And that's a single to center field, and that will produce another run. And now Langston's going to need some relief. He has given up 6 runs in this game. Texas has laid waste to him. RBI for Jerry Brown. And that will be the 20th run batted in for Jerry Brown. It is now 6-4. And Brown at first base, still only 1 out for Scott Fletcher. That's a 1-9 for Fletcher. It's ground ball shortstop B, so it's a fielder's choice for Fletcher. Two down, and that sends us to Ruben Sierra. (5-7). Switch hitter batting right is a ground ball shortstop X. Shortstop is Quinones, 3E31. 3-10. 3-10 is a G2. That's good. E31, again at shortstop. E31, last time he got a 15, so he needs to avoid that 15 for sure. Boy, 17, that's even worse. I think that'll be a 2-base error, and it will. That's going to be a 2-base error on Quinones. So instead of ending the inning, it's a 2-base error on Quinones, his second error of the inning. And Langston's got to figure out what the heck is going on here. 2 errors by his shortstop that prolonged the inning for Pete Incaviglia. Langston in a clutch situation with Incaviglia. Incaviglia will lose a hit on 1-8. But Langston has to get Incaviglia here. 111, and he does. Fly ball to center ends the inning, but 3 runs come in for Texas. They take a 6-4 lead as we go to the 5th inning. And this is the fatigue inning for Mike Loynd. He has a 5 as his fatigue, so we'll keep an eye on that. And he'll be facing the top of the order and John Moses. Moses, 1-7, struck him out. That's the 5th strikeout for Loynd. That'll send up Phil Bradley. He's 0 for 2. And that is a 5-10, and that's a catcher X. So we'll go to our catcher X chart. And Don Slott's a 3E10. So a 3E10. 3-3, that's bad. 3-3 is possible wild pitch, but nobody's on base, so it would be a ground out, assuming there's no error. He is an E10, so an E10, he's got to avoid 12 and 18. Those are the 2 numbers to avoid, 12 and 18. And he does that, so it's just going to be a 2-3 ground out for out number 2. It takes us to Scott Bradley. 6-5, that's a base on balls. And that is I believe that's the first walk for Loynd. I don't see any other walks there, so that's his first walk. And that'll send us to Alvin Davis. Drop my die here. 1-6 for Alvin Davis. He walks. So all of a sudden, back-to-back walks. First 2 walks of the game. And now Loynd has to face Presley in a clutch situation. Presley in the clutch loses a hit on a 2-3. That's a 4-6. That's another walk. So he's walked the bases loaded all of a sudden. And now he has reached fatigue. Just that quickly. Didn't take long. Here's Dave Valley. And we'll look at the Texas bullpen here very shortly. They're hoping Loynd can get him through this inning. He has to complete the inning to qualify for the win. Valley in a clutch situation. And in the clutch, he gains a hit on a 3-9. That's a 6-5, and he struck him out. So he got out of that with a strikeout to end the inning. Not sure if Loynd will come back. We'll have to wait and see because he's technically tired. I think he's still going to come back, though, and try to start the 6th inning. So we go to the bottom of the 5th, and Langston's on the verge of fatigue also. Here's Larry Parrish. Larry Parrish, 5-9, struck him out. That is strikeout number 6 for Langston. And here's Mike Stanley. 4-7 for Stanley. Ground ball, second base X. We're going to Harold Reynolds. Reynolds is a 2E21. 2-18 is good. E21 at second base. Has to avoid 4, 13, and 17. Those are the numbers to avoid. 4, 13, and 17. Which, he barely does, but he makes the play. 2 down. And that'll send up Don Slaught. 6-5, and that's a split. 1-2 is a single. 3-20, he lines out. And that's a line out to short to end the inning. So 5 innings in the books, and it's still 6-4, Texas in the lead. Looking at the Texas bullpen, they have 2 right-handers available, Dale Mahorsic and Jeff Russell, and Paul Kilgus and Mitch Williams. Those are the 4 bullpen arms that they have. So let's see who the most rested one is out of the bunch as to who might be available. Jeff Russell definitely rested. So is Mahorsic. They're both pretty well rested. So looks like Jeff Russell is going to be in the bullpen in back of Loynd, but they're going to let Loynd start the inning. Hello, Mr. Gudeman. Good to see you. Hope you are feeling well today. Mickey Brantley. I don't know how much you remember the 87 season, but that's what we got. 1987, Texas and Seattle. Mike Loynd, barely hanging on. He is fatigued, so if he hits a dot, he's got to come out. Here's Mickey Brantley. 3-6 for Brantley. That's a home run, 1-8. This might put him out right here. 1-8 for a home run. 9-20 is a double, and that's a double for Mickey Brantley. So Mickey Brantley, a leadoff double. And that takes us to Ray Quinones. And Jeff Russell is at the ready to come in. I think if Loynd gives up one more batter, he's out of here. 6-7. And that's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Scott Fletcher. Fletcher is a 3E26. 3-13 should be okay. 3-13 is a G2. That should be good enough to hold the runner. And he is an E26, so he has to avoid 12, 17, and 18. Those are the 3 numbers to avoid, which he does. It's actually a rare play on a G2. So we get a G2 rare play. G2 rare play. Batter lines a shot flex. Oh, that's just a bunch of baloney. Although it does say runners advance if forced. So they're not forced, so they're not going to advance. We're not going to play that rare play game. It's just going to be a 6-3 ground out. Runners hold. So with 1 out, Brantley still at second base. And here's Harold Reynolds, number 9 hitter. That's a 2, balk or pass ball on Loynd. We're looking at the balk rating of Loynd. He's got a 0 balk rating, so no balk to worry about. We get a 3-4, Harold Reynolds. 3-4 is a fly ball to right field, and that's out number 2. So Loynd hanging on by a thread, by a tenderloin, you could say. And here's John Moses in a clutch situation. Moses in the clutch will lose a hit on 2-9. Everywhere else he is neutral. This is going to be it for Loynd one way or the other. I think Russell's going to come in and start the 7th, even if he gets Moses out. 3-5, and he does. It gets him to ground it to second base to end the inning. So that's going to be it for Loynd. He's going to go 6 innings. And we'll go to the computer to get his full data and fill in his pitching line. See how he did. 6 innings pitched, 8 hits, 4 runs. They were earned. Walked 3, struck out 6, but he's got a 6-4 lead, so he's in the position to possibly be the winner. And Jeff Russell will be the new pitcher coming on in the 7th inning. He's a +1 hold and a +1, so it's a +2. So Russell will take over in the top of the 7th. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Mark Langston hanging on by a thread. We'll be facing Buechele, Brower, and Brown. And in the Seattle bullpen, we have 3 right-handers. We have Roy Thomas, Stan Clark. Actually, Stan Clark's a lefty, my bad. 2 right-handers, Edwin Nunez and Roy Thomas. 3 left-handers, Lee Guterman, Bill Wilkinson, and Stan Clark. So they've got all kinds of options there. Keep in mind, Texas has loaded their lineup with righties, so everybody on the bench is a left-hander. So that could affect how you bring people in. Hello, Kathy and RN and Joel. Good to see all of you. And yes, I do go back and watch some of Jeffrey's games just for the heck of it, because I like the flow of it and I miss it, particularly 69. Although I have been watching, some of the 62 as well, and 68. I'm kind of going back and forth between a bunch of those. I've even watched a couple of the 21s just to watch him get frustrated. All right, here is Mark Langston. It's a 6-9, and that's a split. 1-6 is a single. 7-20 is a line out to short, and that's going to be a line out to shortstop. 1 away. Langston is the ace of the Mariners, so they're kind of giving him a little bit longer leash. Here's Brower. 5-7 for Brower. That's a ground ball shortstop X. Quinones has already made 2 errors. He made 2 errors in the 4th inning. He's got another X chance. He's a 3E31. 3 and a 6 is iffy, but I think he'll get to it. It's a G3 pound, but nobody's on base to be held, so he'll get to it with a G3. But he's got to avoid that 15 through 18 has been getting him. Also 3, 4, and 6, but he's got to avoid 15 through 18. He needs something in the middle like a 9 or a 10. That's an 11. That'll work. He'll make that play. So Quinones is able to make the play. 2 down. And that'll send up the governor, Jerry Brown. He is singled and tripled, 2 for 3. 6-6 switch hitter batting right-handed. Of course, everybody's batting right-handed. That's a strikeout, but there's a dot. But he has not reached fatigue yet. His fatigue inning is the 8th inning, so he has not reached fatigue. The strikeout is good, and that will end the inning. So we go to the top of the 7th with the score. Texas 6 and Seattle 4. And now we have the new pitcher coming on for the Rangers, Jeff Russell. Will be coming out of their bullpen, as Loynd gave him 6 innings, which is probably more than they could hope to ask for out of Loynd. We'll go to the real stats for Jeff Russell. And on the 87 season, he was 5-4 with a 444 earned run average. He also accumulated 3 saves. On the replays, 2-3 with a 5.70 ERA, 30 innings pitched, 40 hits, 14 walks, 23 strikeouts. And he'll be facing the 2 Bradleys to start things off, Phil Bradley and Scott Bradley. How are you doing, Jim? Good to see you. That is a 5-6, and that's going to be a strikeout for Russell. He starts out the game, or his game, in the 7th inning with a strikeout. And that brings up Scott Bradley. Whoa, that one didn't go through. It stuck to my hand, so let's redo that. There we go. 110 for Bradley, and that's a base hit. Base hit for Bradley. He's no threat to run, particularly if down by 2 runs. You're not going to run yourself out of an inning. Here's Alvin Davis, first baseman. He is the tying run, so they do have the tying run at the plate. That's a 5-5 lefty, and that's a fly ball to right field, 2 down. 2 away for the Hound Dog, Jim Presley. There's a fly to right field. All right, so 2 down. Yes, I am, Dan. I am definitely enjoying the new tower. No question about it. I love the quietness of it, the sound of it. Yeah, Replay Gamer is awesome. He does great in doing his game videos, but I think his niche, if you want to call it that, is his tabletop talks and his just, you know, him talking about the hobby in general is he's probably more suited. He's probably, I don't want to, because it makes it sound like he's not good at doing games, which is incorrect. He is very good at doing games. I just think his I don't want to use the word specialty, but he really, I think his best work is when he's doing his tabletop talks. But all right, here's Jim Presley. But I don't want it to come across that I'm saying he doesn't do a good job on the game, because he does. All right, here's Presley. 6-3, and that's a ground ball first base C. So he grounds it to the first baseman Stanley, who flips over to the pitcher Russell, and that will end the inning. So we get to go to the 7th inning stretch. And Jeff, I'm sure he came in late, but I still have my coffee here. Have my coffee, Jeff, so no problem there. And it's still kind of warm, so I'm okay with that. All right, so Langston. Come back out, and we'll face Fletcher to start the inning. It'll be Fletcher, Sierra, and Incaviglia due up for the Rangers. That's a 4-6, and that's a strikeout for Langston. Again, there's a dot there, but he has not reached fatigue yet, despite giving up 6 runs, but they weren't all in the same inning, and some of those were unearned as well. Here's Ruben Sierra. So I go by the computer to tell him if he's tired or not. Computer says he's not tired, so I'm going to go with it. Here's Ruben Sierra, 3-5 against the lefty, and that's a pop out to second base. Harold Reynolds is there, 2 down. 2 up, 2 down. Yeah, I know, Jeff, you like the cold coffee. I can't do the iced coffee thing. Just can't do it. All right, here's Pete Incaviglia. But like the same way with the hobby, I say drink coffee the way you want to drink it. 3-10, and that's going to be a strikeout for Langston, his 9th. And if you don't want to drink coffee, that's fine too. I mean, freedom of choice. All right, so we go to the 8th inning. And Jeff Russell is going to be your batter, or pitcher rather, against Dave Valley here in the top of the 8th. We are in the 8th inning, so if you want a pinch hit, certainly have that option. And these are the available pinch hitters. From the left side, you have Mike Kingery and Ken Phelps. From the right side, John Christensen, Domingo Ramos, and Bob Kearney. So for Valley, we could be looking at a pinch hitter for Valley. They are going to bring in Mike Kingery to pinch hit for Bradley, and then they will use Bob Kearney to catch. But they need some offense. So Coming into pinch hit is going to be Mike Kingery. He will pinch hit here in the 8th inning. Mike Kingery. And then over here, we will have Bob Kearney as the catcher. Bob Kearney will do the catching. So Kingery gets the call. We'll get the numbers on Kingery as Valley will sit down. Valley was 1 for 3 with a strikeout. But they are going to the left-handed hitting Mike Kingery to hit for Valley. Kingery's hitting 263 on the replay. 5 homers, 20 driven in. He hit 280 real world. Jim, cool. I'm glad you. I tell you what, I loved it. I love this thing. The only thing I wish was a little bit better, and it's because I have problems with my right hand. My right hand is still giving me problems, so I'm having to use my left hand. And sometimes trying to get these. That's why I went to the little dice, because it's easier. Because this little chute here is not very wide. I mean, it's like only that wide, so it's easy to miss. So that's why I have to really like set it above this and not drop it, but just almost set it on top to make sure they don't fall out. But other than that, I love it. Here's Kingery. That's a 6'10", and that's a catcher X. So we're going to Don Slot for the catcher X chance. And Don Slot is a 3E10. I could do that, Jeffrey. I'm not sure how. I mean, I don't want to be like a salesperson for this company, but I can certainly do that. Maybe not as a standalone, but maybe in front of a game or something. I could do that possibly. All right. So catcher X, slot 3, 3 and a 12 for a catcher is a P/F, but nobody's on base, so there can't be a pass ball. So it's possible foul out. We're checking for the error. E10, he has to avoid 12 and 18. Those are the only 2 numbers, 12 and 18. And he does that just fine. So it's a pop out. Kingery fails in the pinch. So he fails. And, of course, Kearney will come in to be the new catcher in the bottom of the 8th. So 1 away, and that's going to bring up Mickey Brantley. That's a 4-6, and that's a base on balls. Tying run now at the plate. Russell's a +2 hold with the catcher, but you're down by 2. And the way this double die has been rolling, I don't trust it. Just try to steal. If you're down by 2 runs, you can't make outs on the base pass. You got to just go with it. Ray Quinones, he's got a home run in the game, but he's also made 2 errors. So I think Seattle's going to make a move here. They're going to pinch hit for Quinones. And they're going to use the big guy, Ken Phelps, the big DH, Ken Phelps. And they will bring Domingo Ramos in to play short. So they're pulling out all the stops they can here in this top of the 8th inning. So Ken Phelps will pinch hit here in the 8th. Whoops, put an extra H in there, didn't I? Ken Phelps. Boy, that's terrible looking. Too bad I don't have Spokane Steve's penmanship. Very envious of that. Pinch hitting in the 8th, and then Ramos will play short in the 8th. All right, so we'll go to the bench and get the big guy, Ken Phelps. Normally DHs most of the time, but he's, for some reason, didn't start today. And he is in to pinch hit. On the replay, he's hitting 272 with 15 homers, 40 driven in. On the 87 season, he hit 27 home runs and just 332 at-bats. So as you can see, he's got some home runs stacked on his card. So that's what the Mariners are counting on. With Brantley at first. Dan, I got the same thing emailed to me as well. I went in and looked at what I wanted. I was looking at their website, and I'm trying to think of what sets I could possibly want or need. It would be a good deal for sure. I think the 85 set, by the time I did shipping with free shipping and the 10% off, was like $71 or something. So I don't know. But would I really play it is the question. All right, here is Phelps. 2-5 for Phelps, and he draws the walk. That's something he does very well, is walk. So 2 walks in this inning. Phelps only runs at a 9. Is there anybody left on the Seattle bench? John Christensen is their last bench player, and he runs at a 13. I don't know. I'm not sure it's really worth the pinch run right here. I think they're going to stick with Phelps. Actually, no, they're going to pinch run with Ramos, who's going to come in and play short anyway. So Ramos will pinch run. So actually, he's going to pinch run in the 8th inning. He's going to do a pinch runner, and then he goes into play short in the 8th. So he will pinch run. So Ramos is pinch running. He can't really think about stealing, but at least the 12 is better than the 9 of Phelps. So Ramos is the trail runner at first. And we have Harold Reynolds due up. And this guy is looming in the bullpen. The wild thing, Mitch Williams is loosening in the Texas bullpen as we speak, in case Russell can't get the job done. So here now is Harold Reynolds. That's a 6-8 switch hitter batting left, and that's a single 1-15, a line out 16-20. And that's a base hit. It's going to load the bases. Bases are now loaded with only 1 out, 6-4 ball game. And we're back to the top of the order for John Moses. Russell trying to pitch out of the mess. Infield back for the double play. 6-11 for Russell. That's a ballpark single check, and 11 is the magic number on everything. 1-11 is a base hit. That's a double dies a 1. It's a base hit. 1 star only. Cuts the lead to 6-5. And now Phil Bradley, the batter. This will be the last batter Russell will face. They will bring in Mitch Williams if he can't get out of this. Bases are loaded with 1 out. Infield still looking for that double play to get out of the inning. 1-8, and that's a strikeout, a big one, as he strikes out Phil Bradley. So they will go to the wild thing, Mitch Williams. He will be coming on to pitch and try to get this final out of the 8th inning. Russell's going to go an inning and 2/3. And he's going to walk 2, strike out 2. He's going to give up 1 run, but these guys are his responsibility as well. And 3 hits. So Mitch Williams is a -6 hold, which makes him a -5. The wild thing, Mitch Williams will be coming on to pitch to Scott Bradley, although Seattle does have Christensen in the back pocket they could go to. And I think that's what they're going to do, obviously, as they have a counter move coming up. So they will go to Christensen in off the bench. So Christensen will be the new DH. So John Christensen is the final player on the bench for Seattle. So Seattle has used everybody. They have nobody left. They've used them all. Christensen pinch hitting for Bradley. Christensen hitting .250 on the replay, 3 homers, 10 driven in. He hit .242 real world. Let's get the numbers on the wild thing, Mitch Williams. Mitch Williams, 8-6 with a 3.23 ERA on the real season, and he also had a total. Well, I've got to bring him in the game first. I still have Russell in there, so let's bring in Mitch Williams on the computer. So again, Mitch Williams, 8-6, 3.23 ERA, and 6 saves real world.
On the replays, 0-3, but he's already got 12 saves. I've been using him as the closer all the time, and he's got 12 saves. Although his ERA is 6.25 in the replay, 32 innings pitched, 23 hits, 30 walks, and 42 strikeouts. It's the walks that can be hurtful, and bringing him in with the bases loaded and 2 outs is risky. I understand that, but Russell was fading, and he's the best reliever you got, so you got to take your chances. It is a clutch situation for Christensen, and he loses hits on 1-6, 1-12, 2-6. So he loses hits in 3 spots. Christensen against Williams. Yes, Dr. D. Once we finish this June 30th date, I will do a separate video of stats on the computer at the end of June, as they are at the end of June, with league leaders and all that stuff. All right, here's Christensen, 5-9, and that is a strikeout. So Mitch Williams comes in and gets the K and gets out of the rest of the inning, maintains the lead at 6-5. Mitch Williams coming in and getting the job done out of the pen. So now the computer is having me bring Kearney in to catch, which we will do. Bob Kearney is in to catch. And we need to bring in Ramos to play short. He was already pinch running, but now we've got to make him a shortstop. Now, Langston, the question is, this is his fatigue inning. Do we stick with Langston or go to the bullpen? We got righties coming up. Oh, watch out, Tabby. We got righties coming up. So we'll figure out what's going on here. And while I figure out what's going on, we'll have a Tabby break. While I figure out my strategy. We have Tabby giving us a quick... We didn't have a 7th inning stretch, so we got a Tabby break. Right, Tabby? There you go. All right, that's it. That's the break. That's enough of the break. We don't need anything else. All right, let's get everything back the way it should be. Make sure everything is back copacetic here while I figure out my strategy of what I want to do here. Do we want to go to the bullpen? We got right-handers coming up. Man, Parrish, Stanley, and Slot. But Langston has retired 10 in a row, so I think that earns him, and he's also the ace of the team, so I think that earns him the right to come back out and pitch the bottom of the 8th inning. That's the way I'm going to treat it anyway. All right, Tabby? Got a little stuff going there. All right, so we're going to the bottom of the 8th. Langston will start us off here against Larry Parrish. That's a 1-8, and that's a strikeout. So Langston gets his 10th strikeout. All right, Tabby? Throat here. All right. Tabby's not gonna like it. She gets her annual summertime haircut tomorrow, or Saturday, I should say. She doesn't like it, but she'll feel a whole lot cooler. All right, here's Mike Stanley. That's a 6-6 against Langston, and that's another strikeout. There's a dot there, but he's not tired. That is strikeout number 11 for Langston. And now we got Don Slot coming on. Catch, he's 0 for 3. 2-8, and he grounds it to short to end the inning. So Langston hanging in there. Gave up 6 runs in the first 4 innings, but since then has pitched really well. Kept his team in the game and gave them a chance to get back in the game, which they did. And now we got the top of the 9th. Top of the 9th we go. Mitch Williams back out, and he will be facing Davis, Presley, and Kearney. Scheduled hitters. There's nobody left on the Seattle bench, so they have no other options to go to but that. And we'll get the numbers on Langston to fill him in as well. So he went 8 innings. He's going to give up 6 hits, 6 runs, 5 were earned, 2 walks, and 12 strikeouts. And if they tie the game, of course, they'll go to the bullpen. But right now, last chance saloon for Seattle as they face the Wild Thing, Mitch Williams. Yep, cards are still in view, so we're good shape there. All right, Alvin Davis, lefty-lefty matchup. 6'8", and that's a base on balls, and that's the one thing you worry about with Mitch Williams are the walks. You take the good with the bad. And now that's going to send up the hound dog, Jim Presley. He'll step up to the plate. That's a 3-6 for Presley. 1-6 is a single. 7-20 he lines to short. And that's a base hit, 1 star. Base hit, 1 star. Now Ed Nunez, the Seattle closer, is loosening in the bullpen in case they take the lead or tie the game. That'll bring up Bob Kearney. He's not a very good hitter, but he is an A bunter. And this is a perfect, I don't like the bunt, but to me, this is the perfect time to do it. Avoids a double play, tries to get runners in scoring position, brings the go-ahead run in scoring position, does all kind of things. He's only a 170 hitter, so there's no reason to have him swing away unless you're looking for a walk out of Williams. So we're going to the bunt. And let's see here, 5. So that means it's going to be fielded by the first baseman, and that is Mike Stanley. So first baseman will field the bunt. He's an A bunter with the corners in. It's got B bunter. So 1-9 is pretty much a good bunt. Anything above 9 is in trouble. That's an 8. That's a perfectly good bunt. So it'll be 3. We'll just call it 3 unassisted. Sacrifice hit, 3 unassisted. And that puts the tying run at third, the go-ahead run at second with only 1 out. Causes the Texas defense to think about what they want to do. I think you have to bring the infield in here. I don't think you can give up a cheap ground ball B to give up a tying run. But by bringing the infield in, you also risk getting both runs to score. But Williams is going for the strikeout. He's a closer for a reason, so he's going for the strikeout of Brantley if he can get it. 5-11, and that's a ballpark blast for Mickey Brantley. He does have normal power. The number is 1-11, and that's gone. Mickey Brantley, a 3-run home run off of the Wild Thing, Mitch Williams, and the Mariners have reclaimed the lead, and all of a sudden Mark Langston's in position to get his 10th win of the season. For Mickey Brantley, that is home run number 6. He had 14 of them real world. And that's RBI. Those are RBIs 13, 14, and 15 on the replay. But the ballpark blast on the 5-11 on Mitch Williams did him in. Here's Domingo Ramos. That's a 3-5 for Ramos against the lefty. 1-12 is a single. And he gets a single. Now they might have to pull Mitch Williams and bring in Mahorsic. We'll have to wait and see. Here's Reynolds. 5-12, switch hitter batting right. That's a ballpark blast, but he has weak power. So weak power, no home run. But it will be a single, 2 stars. And that's going to be it for Mitch Williams. He's out of there. He couldn't get it done. He could not get it done, folks. Could not get the save done. So Dale Mahorsic will be coming into the ball game for Texas. Right-hander Dale Mahorsic. That leaves Paul Kilgus as the only bullpen arm left for Texas, but they're going to go to Mahorsic. Dale Mahorsic. And Mahorsic on the replay, or on the season rather, Mahorsic 7-6 with a 2.99 ERA. 7-6 with a 2.99 ERA and 16 saves real world. On the replays, 4-2 with 4 saves, but his ERA is 5.35. He's really struggled, which is why I wasn't using him as a closer very much. 39 innings pitched, 46 hits, 6 walks, 24 strikeouts. He is now facing John Moses with runners at the corners and 1 out. Let's see. Mahorsic is a -5 hold, which makes him a -4 for Mahorsic. And then Nunez will be the new pitcher for Seattle in the bottom of the 9th. So Moses is up. Reynolds possibly could think about trying to steal here, but it is a -4. So if we get an 18 held 16, -4 is a 12. I don't think they want to run themselves out of an inning, so they will stick with Moses here. And Tabby's trying to get up on the table by herself, and I really don't want her to do that. She just did it. Tabby, well, you stay over there out of the way. That'll be fine. You sit there. Okay. Well, she's sitting on my X chart, so as long as there's no X charts, I don't have to worry about it. X charts would be my only concern here. Back this up 1 notch here. X charts are my only concern at this point. Because she's laying on those. All right. So runners at the corners, 1 out. Do you trust that you can get a double play? I think you got to play the infield in. I don't think you can trust a double play here. They're playing the infield in. Moses, he's got some ground ball A's, but he's got some ground ball B's too. So 3-5, and that's a ground ball second base A. They would have ended the inning on a double play, but if you roll a ground ball shortstop, if you roll a ground ball B, it would be a cheap run. So it's a ground ball second base A, and what that means with the infield in is the runner on third holds. Run on second will go to first, and the play is made at first base for the second out. And that brings up Phil Bradley. So he just couldn't take the chance that they could turn a double play. So second and third, 2 outs. Clutch situation now for Phil Bradley. And the clutch, Bradley will lose a hit on 2-10 and 2-5 and on 1-7. That's a 6-11 from Mahorsic. That's a ground ball first base X. That is Stanley. He's a 4-E8. And Tabby, I need my X charts. Sorry. Need my X charts. So Stanley is a 4 at first base. And that's a 5. 4 and a 5 is going to be a base hit. 1 star. That's enough to score a run. Stanley, E8 at first base. Basically, 15 through 18, he's got to avoid plus a 6. Oh, that hung up there. Let's do that again. All right, so he avoided the error, but it is going to be a base hit, and that will score another run. Charge that one to Williams. Going to third is Reynolds. Seattle now leads it 9-6. And that brings up John Christensen. Mahorsic trying to get out of the inning in the worst way. Runners on the corners now with 2 outs. 5-7, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Fletcher. He's a 3. Ooh, 3 and a 6, but he's not holding anybody on. 3 and a 6 is going to be a G3 pound, but he's not holding anybody on, so the pound is irrelevant. So E26, he's got to avoid 12, 17, and 18. Those are the numbers. And he does barely, but he makes the play. So they send 9 to the plate. It's an Abraham Lincoln 4-score inning. And now Seattle has a chance to get the comeback victory against the Rangers. And they will turn it over to their closer, Edwin Nunez. Nunez will come on and pitch. Now, the Texas Rangers do have all kinds of left-handed pinch hitting on the bench, and they will certainly be going to that. No question about it. Get the numbers on Nunez. First, we get his card as well. Let's get Nunez out here. Tabby, I think your paws are on my scorebook here. All right, so here's Nunez. And let's look at the Texas bench. Tabby, you're sitting on my bench. I can't even see the bench. I think you're sitting all over the Tabby. Hey, you don't bite me. Move over here. What's up with you? No, you need to move. You need to go. You need to go. Try to be nice, but, you know. Anyway, sorry about that, folks. Let me fix everything here. Make sure I've got it where you can see it now and it's not off kilter. So I think that's okay. All right, so Nunez is your new pitcher for Seattle. He is their closer. 3-4 with a 3.80 ERA. He didn't have that many saves. I mean, he didn't really, I think he was injured part of the year. He only threw 47 innings. So it's not like he had a lot of innings pitched. So Nunez, let's bring this over here. There we go. Nunez did have 12 saves real world. On the replays, 1-1 with 6 saves and a 3.57 earned run average. Scheduled hitters are Buechele, Brower, and Brown, but we've got a whole bunch of lefty pinch hitting that they will go to off the bench. First, they're going to start with Pete O'Brien, and then go to O-Matic McDowell. So O'Brien will hit for Buechele. So O'Brien will hit for Buechele, and McDowell will hit for Brower. Couple of lefties. Okay. If it goes extra innings, they will keep O'Brien in the game at first base and bring in a new third baseman to replace Stanley. But right now, they're thinking about offense, not defense. So it's going to be O'Brien, McDowell, and Jerry Brown. Those are the scheduled hitters here in the bottom of the ninth of what is now a 9-6 game. 9 runs, 16 hits, and 2 errors for Seattle. 6 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error for Texas. And Edwin Nunez. And he is a -4 hold, which makes him a minus. Let's see, Kearney is the new catcher. So Kearney is a +1, so that makes him a -3. Not that they would try to steal him down by 3 runs, but just for noteworthy purposes. Here's O'Brien, and got to bring O'Brien in the computer. Keep the roll. I'm not going to mess with the roll. The roll's valid. We'll bring in O'Brien as the pinch hitter. O'Brien hitting 271 on the replay, 14 homers, 38 driven in. He at 286 real world. And on a 4-5, he will fly to center field. So that's 1 away. Now we go to O-Matic McDowell. He will pinch hit for the center fielder, Bob Brower. Although Brower is 2 for 3, but that was against a lefty. He's much better against lefties. So they will go to McDowell off the bench. Get the numbers for McDowell. McDowell on the replay hitting 241, 4 homers, 24 driven in. And oh, by the way, he's hitting 241 on the real season. So he's right where he should be. McDowell against Nunez. 4-3, and that's a fly ball left field X. Phil Bradley, 205. So we'll get the left fielder X charts after Tabby is set all over him. Let's see here, 205. 2 and an 18 is good. E5. He's got to avoid 4, 14, and 18. Those are the numbers to avoid, and he does just that. So Phil Bradley will make the catch. 2 down. And that will bring up Jerry Brown. Last chance saloon for the governor, Jerry Brown. 271 hitter, so we're not going to pinch hit for him. He is 2 for 4 on the day, a single and a triple. Switch hitter, 5-5. That's a split, but it's only got to be a 1 or it's all over. It is all over. He lines it to second, and Edwin Nunez picks up the save. And that will be his 7th of the replay. He had 12 real world. Langston will improve to 10-7, and Mitch Williams will take the loss, no question about it. We'll go to the computer to get the final results and the final tallies. 9 runs, 16 hits, and 2 errors for Seattle. 6 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error for Texas. And we'll go to the computer and get all the pertinent data that is needed. Mitch Williams put in his numbers. He blew the save and takes the loss. He's now 0-4. He went 2/3 of an inning, gave up 4 hits, 4 runs. They were all earned. His ERA has ballooned to 7.24 now. A walk and a strikeout. Mahorsic, 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit, nothing else. Seattle left 12 on base. Texas only 4. It could have been a lot worse. There were a lot of left on bases by Seattle, particularly bases loaded here. They left guys on. But Seattle improves to 34-42. Texas drops to 32-42. And as we look ahead, first we'll look at the player of the game. Mickey Brantley, 3 for 4 for Mickey Brantley. He is our player of the game. Mickey Brantley. He is the player of the game. He singled in the 2nd. He doubled in the 6th, in the 8th, and hit the coup de grace 3-run homer in the 9th to give Seattle the victory. So Mickey Brantley is your player of the game. Mickey Brantley, a 302 hitter, real world, in 351 at-bats with 14 home runs. He is the player of the game, Mickey Brantley. So we look ahead to Friday's game, and it will be the Detroit Tigers taking on the Milwaukee Brewers from Milwaukee. It'll be Dan Petrie on the mound for the Tigers, and Mark Clear comes out of the bullpen for a spot start for the Milwaukee Brewers. That'll be tomorrow. Saturday, of course, will be the NBC Game of the Week in Fall Classic. 1979 will be in Detroit for the Angels and the Tigers. Sunday, Basic Sunday, Strat-O-Matic Basic game. I'm not sure of the teams yet. 1962, I haven't picked the teams yet, so we'll figure that out later. Tonight, around 8 o'clock, if you're so interested in History Maker Golf, we'll be having the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd rounds of the Players' Championship, which is like the 5th major there, from Florida at the TPC. I guess it's Sawgrass is what it's called. So we'll be doing that. We're doing the cut in the 1st and 2nd round, and then we'll be doing the 3rd round to position them to get the top 12 players to view on Sunday or Saturday night, I should say. So we'll get that done Thursday, which is tonight. And that way tomorrow I can play the front 9 offline and get it all ready to go for production on Saturday night. So that's what the look ahead looks like. Tomorrow's game, Jeff, I try to do between 9 and 9:15 Eastern every morning. So it's usually between 9. I try to do it at 9. Half the time I end up being like 9:10, something like that. But certainly no later than 9:15. But the window is 9 to 9:15 Eastern every morning, Monday through Friday, not weekends, but Monday through Friday. Now, game of the week is at noon on Saturday. That's the time for that. Noon on Saturday for that. Tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, will be the golf, History Maker Golf. So, and I also have, for those that weren't aware, I did purchase the Strat-O-Matic special edition that came from Barnes & Noble, and I got my extra players in the mail for a very good price and free shipping. So I spent all day yesterday, the extra players, there were so many extra players, like 300 some extra players. So I got them all in their teams. I got them all set up in their teams, all with the opening day rosters. I had to move a lot of guys around and figure out where these guys were playing and where they were located. Some guys have 3 or 4 cards. I don't know why Strat does that. I don't need all 3 or 4 cards for one guy. I'd rather take those extra cards and give me some of the marginal players I need. But that's the way Strat does it. So I am thinking about doing something with that set. Thinking about maybe doing a dark replay with that. So we'll see how that turns out. I got a couple ideas to what to do. Something that won't be a tremendous amount of work. but something that I can use the set for. So I'm in the works for doing something with that. So we'll figure out what that's going to be. But good deal from Strat-O-Matic, though. Get that the game and the condensed parts of the game, the base player set, and then you get a certificate. You get a coupon code to get the extra players for 75% off with free shipping. So. Well, there you go, Jeff. I'm happy to help there. There's a whole genre on YouTube called ASMR that a lot of people find relaxing. I'm not sure if you've ever seen any of those or not, but people get on there and speak really softly, and it's almost like a Bob Ross painting kind of thing. That's where I think he got his popularity from, because it was so relaxing hearing him do his thing. But that seems to be a whole genre on YouTube. So that's something else you could possibly watch as well. But anyway, I like this tower. It's quieter, and it makes for, sometimes that other tower it's just too noisy for me for whatever reason. But it didn't bother me for the longest time, but it sure did lately. So anyway, that's going to do it from here. Tonight, like I said, it'll be the golf. Not sure when I'm going to announce my 2025 endeavor, but I'm working on it. I'm doing a lot of legwork in the background, so I want to get that all settled in first before I present anything, because I want to make sure it's what I want to do, and it's something that I can stick with. So I don't want to be willy-nilly about it. I want to get I think not tabletop. I think Tenacious Earl said he wants to make sure, he used the expression, wants to make sure he has his pants on straight. So that's kind of what I'm doing with this 25 thing. I want to get everything in place where I need it. Now, I don't have the Strat Computer 25 season, but I do have the Action PC 25 season. So I would use that to keep my stats. I found out that with the extra players, the majority of the players I need are carded. There's a few that are not. Few very, very marginal guys that are not. And of course, I got the nameless players that I can substitute for that. So, but that's another day for another time. Right here, Seattle, 4 runs in the 9th to come back and beat the Texas Rangers 9-6. Tomorrow we'll be in Milwaukee for Detroit and the Brewers. Dan Petrie against Mark Clear, who's making a spot start. So that's going to do it for now. Hope everybody has a great Thursday, whatever you have planned for yourself. And if depending on what part of the country, and I know we're getting a heat wave here the next couple of days. It's going to be in the upper 90s this weekend, or I think tomorrow is upper 90. They got a heat advisory out for the next couple of days. So I'm staying inside where it's air conditioned. I've already cut the grass yesterday when it was cooler, so I don't have that hanging over my head. So I'm just going to relax and enjoy the hobby for the next couple days in the nice confines of a cooler house than what's outside. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.